This Milk.
Starring Mr. B.Rock, the RockStarPoet. Yeah, we out here. Yeah, we out here. Like Everclear, vomiting from the mouth of a virgin in her sophomore year. It's not consensual if she said anything other than yeah. She ain't gotta give you her number just cause you bought her and her girls some beers. While we go to the club to have a good time, but half the time we worried about the fear of losing our life. Over some J's a nigga only wore twice. Kicks an Asian chick spent 14 hours on for 4 cups of rice. Well, eat well and sleep tight. Stay woke and live right. Every argument ain't gotta be a fight. Unless it's a debate about who the hardest poet, well then I'm iron on this mic. Inspired by old school rappers who be naughty, not nice. That's why my queen gotta be strong as Cicely Tyson to be my wife. Cause life is a competitive sport. You get 8 if you don't bite. One bad eye, but the other 2 got more vision than sight. I see the light, I am the light, believe the hype. Nigga, I feel like I'm supposed to say nigga at the end of that. Nigga, like, yeah.
Yo, quick, where were you raised at, brother?
I was raised in Baltimore, Maryland, Park Heights and Garrison.
Tell us about that environment and how you was raised. Make me feel like I'm there.
Okay, so you wake up in the morning. You might wake up to the sound of gunshots. You might not. Yes, sometimes it's guns blazing 9, 8, 10 in the morning. It wasn't like that all the time, but that's the echoes that I remember. You get on the bus, the 91, to take you to Ride the Station. On the way to Ride the Station, you're going to have this strong stench that just hits your nose, but you grow up in it, so you don't even realize that you're smelling shit every single morning. But it turned out it was the city dump 3 blocks from my house. I get on that bus to go to another bus, to go to another bus, to get to my job in the county. And get that good white folks money,
right.
And you bring it back. It wasn't the best experience, to be honest, you know. And I have to be candid about that because you know a lot of people love their city. I love my city, you know, but I have to be honest about how it felt growing up. That shit was traumatizing as fuck. Can we guys?
Most time.
Yeah, it was traumatizing as fuck. And I had to deprogram myself when I got out of Baltimore when I turned 18 in order to become the man that I am today.
Okay. When you said deprogram yourself, tell me some of the steps you did to deprogram yourself. Because a lot of young brothers don't know how to do that once they either move out of the inner city. I want to just talk about Baltimore. I'm just talking about any inner city. Or young ladies. Just go through that process for us.
So the deprogramming, oh man. So you have to... Damn, we getting deep already.
Yeah, we out here.
Yeah, we out here. So the thing is, man, you have to swallow a hard pill first and foremost. And that pill that you have to swallow is that you are in control of everything that is happening to you. Regardless, Will Smith says this very well. It's not your fault that you went through something, but it's your responsibility to make it better, to improve, you know what I'm saying, to go to the next level. So with that said, man, I had to really realize I had some bad habits. You know, I had some rather undesirable qualities about myself that I had to nip in the bud. First, I had to accept it, like, oh, damn, like, I don't know what I'm doing with my money. You know what I'm saying? Like, oh, I don't know how to really truly court a woman and talk to her in the right way. You know what I'm saying? Oh, I don't know how to really control my anger. You know what I'm saying? Like, these are the things that I had to accept first and foremost. And when you accept it, it's kind of a hard pill because you're like, oh shit, like, it's my fault. Like, right. Like things are my fault. Like, I can't blame nobody. I can't point the finger. Like, because it's so easy to point the finger, especially when you in a crabs in a barrel mentality. And where I was from, like, a lot of people just kind of turn each other down. You know, it's easy to point the finger. The hard part is pointing the finger at the one in the mirror.
No stuff.
You know what I'm saying? You point the finger at them and they like, oh,
me?
Like, me? I love you. I'm here with you the whole time. What you mean? Like, you feel me? So that's what the deprogramming. It's levels. Like, that's just the surface. Like, That's just getting it started. Like, after that, then you go on this spiritual journey. Then you have to realize that if you want something, you have to map it out. You have to plan. You have to execute. You know what I'm saying? You can plan all day, but you have to execute. You have to put action behind your words, because the words are behind your thoughts. The thoughts is behind your intentions. You know what I'm saying? So laying that out like that, I kind of had a very unique journey because I had to create my own way of doing that. Like I had this basically a self-help workbook. You know, I used to read self-help books, you know what I'm saying, to try to improve myself. And then I would realize, okay, they're not really teaching me nothing or really telling me anything that I didn't really already know. I just kind of gave them $9.99 to kind of just reinforce what I already been trying to think about and do.
Right. A lot of these books, what they do is they give you definition to what you already think.
Absolutely. You know what I'm saying? It's just a definition of what I'm already going through. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't need to know that I'm conscious. Like, I feel like if you're born in the hood, you're automatically conscious. You automatically know something's not right. You know what I'm saying? You automatically know something's like off. You know what I'm saying? Like, I think it's people who have a very, very sheltered or affluent upbringing that don't realize that they have to wake up into consciousness. You know what I'm saying? Or that people are actually going through things in this country or whatever. You know, whatever. You know, but yeah, it's a journey, man. And I'm still on that journey. Right. You know, I'm still in that deprogramming.
The funny thing is what you just said about when you wake up, when you've been raised in the hood, you know for a fact that something's off, right? I would like to compare it to the Matrix, right? Like we are in the Matrix to the point where as though we are not under we're not in the computer simulated version. We all woke up in the real version, so we know the stake is fake, right? We know that things are not like it's supposed to be on all levels. So it's easier for us to see through bullshit because we was born in real shit. Am I right?
Right. Yeah. Absolutely. And it's that, I will say this though, it's that real shit. It's that those trials and tribulations that I went through that made me the strong soldier that I am today. You know, I will say that learning street smarts was important. I mean, you need street smarts and book smarts, but I honestly believe in the way this society is set up in such a gangster way. You know what I'm saying? The way that, and when I say a gangster way, I mean the way that bankers and the way that the financial infrastructure like pimps people. That shit is gangster as fuck. You know what I'm saying? And you really gotta you need the book smart to know the terminology that they're using to do it, but you need the street smarts to navigate and to not get caught up and get capitalized on. You know what I'm saying? So
I agree. So let me ask you this: what made you start writing?
Yeah, man. So when I was younger, I used to write these very emotional notes. I wouldn't say it was poems, or I just call them emotional notes. Like I would write these notes to my mother, and it would be basically how I felt emotionally. Why we gotta do this? Why we gotta go through that? Why we gotta move again? Where's dad? Where's this? Why am I hungry? Why we, you know what I'm saying? Why you smoking cigarettes? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, and because I hated that she smoked cigarettes, and I would put that in there a lot. But it makes sense now. But I used to write these notes, and I used to leave them somewhere that I knew she would find. You know, like, so I would leave it like in the sink. You know what I'm saying? I put it on the door, at the front door. You know what I'm saying? She gotta see it. You know what I'm saying? And she would. It would be the same broken record basically. Like she would read it, come to me after work, you know, and sit me down and just say, you know, it is what it is, type of thing. That's all I remember is that it was what it was. You know, I didn't get no real resolve. So mix that with the fact that my favorite rapper of all time, Jay-Z, like I'm like 6 years old, 7 years old, up to adulthood now. I always listen to Jay-Z, and he used to inspire me to want to write something. Like I'm like, yo, like I like the way he put that together. Like when Reasonable Doubt came out, bro, I was on that shit. Like I'm a youngin', right? And like I don't know what I hear somebody playing it. Anyway, it doesn't matter. But I would write these little bars, right? And I would write some bars real quick, and I like literally would read it, and ball it up and throw it away. Like every time, bro. And that happened like maybe 37 times, bro, like throughout my life. So, and that's it, bro. There was no poetry. It wasn't no spoken word. It wasn't going to events. I didn't know about open mics. I didn't know any of that. Fast forward, I just graduated from high school. I was dating this girl, and we broke up. And then we broke up again. We got back together, broke up again, and that was a real bad breakup. And I wound up writing this poem. I didn't know it was a poem. I just wrote it. I thought it was just an emotional note. You know what I'm saying? And I infused some Lupe lyrics. I infused some Alicia Keys lyrics from this song she got, The Thing About Love. And I just wrote it out, bro. And it was solid. Now I look back, it's solid. That joint was solid, bro. Like, that was a whole little mini feature right there that I did, because it was like 7 minutes long. Yeah, right. And so look, this, I read it so many times, I accidentally memorized it. That's because I just couldn't stop reading it. You know, it was like literally my whole heart on a page, and I'm looking at it. You know, the only time I ever written poetry was when I had to in school. Like we had to write a poem for this, or like your final assignment is to write a poem, and so I would just write something real. And I didn't realize I was good at it because I would write those poems really fast and turn it in, get an A. You know what I'm saying? And not really realizing that it's a gift. You know what I'm saying? So fast forward to college, my freshman year of college. And I'm chilling with my homegirl in her dorm, and she was a theater major, and she was doing her little monologues or whatever. And I was like, I got something like that, you know what I'm saying? And I let her hear what I wrote about my ex, and she was like, "Oh my God, that was amazing! You need to try out for this organization called Couture Word." I was like, "Couture Word." I was like, "What is that?" She was like, "What's a poetry group?" I was like, "Poetry?"
Right.
Like Soulja Boy, Gucci Band, like poetry. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, I mean, I was flipping. I was like, yo, like, don't get out of here with that soft shit. Like, you know what I'm saying? Because all I knew about poetry was William Shakespeare and, you know what I'm saying, the roses are dying. And, you know what I'm saying? Like, that's all I knew. Like, every time I thought about poetry, I just like, this again. You know what I'm saying? Like, I need them bars. You know what I'm saying? Like, so I went to the open mic. Said, okay, this is cool. You know what I'm saying? This is straight. And they were pubbing for the poetry slam the weekend after that. So this is the end of my freshman year. I go to the poetry slam, and I was like, yo, what is this? Like, these niggas is going in. Like, they are snapping right now.
Right.
And one dude named Brian Fingers, he was the coordinator of the Couture Word group, and he was in that poetry slam. And like, just what he was doing was just so dynamic to me. You know, all of them were dynamic, you know, but he really stood out to me. So that's the end of my freshman year. That summer, I wrote like 10 poems, bro. Like, I just went in, just writing. That's not really a lot now. I think about it. I had 3 months and I only wrote 10 poems. But anyway, so I wrote 10 poems in 3 months or whatever. And the next year, I came in and tried out for that organization. They have it's a huge organization on campus. It's one of the biggest. It's like 200 people in the organization because it's a modeling troupe, essentially. It was models, Word, so it's Couture Models, Couture Word, which is poets and singers. Then you had Couture Dance. Then you had Couture Staff, which was like makeup artists and stuff like that. So I tried out, and it was a room, 200 people, like 200-300 people in the room. It was an open audition. Anybody could come watch. So it was like the models walk in, the poets spitting, the singers singing, or whatever. We had 30 seconds, bro. I set the room on fire.
You remember what you spit?
30 seconds. Man, all I remember is the last line, which is, so it was about relationships. Mm-hmm. So my whole first 2 years was just straight relationships. That's all I really wanted to talk about. That's all that was really on my heart, you know? Right. So,
healing yourself.
Yeah.
Through your words, unknowingly.
Unknowingly healing myself through my words, most right? Definitely. So, the poem was called Dating is Fun, but I Don't Date for Fun. So, and I remember the last line was like, you know, nice girls, when they break up with nice guys, they like to say we best friends. And like, I can't really remember it was a huge setup for that. Like, the setup for that was crazy because, I mean, it set the room on fire. Like, it was like, yo! And I immediately knew right then that this is what I'm supposed to be doing. Because when I walked, I mean, it was spirit. I wasn't thinking. It was all spirit. Because when we was waiting in line, the dude in front of me, nervous, like crying. The girl behind me, nervous, crying. And I'm just sitting there like, and granted, you know, it was a lot of crazy personal shit going on in my life at the time. Like, I was about to get kicked out of school. You know what I'm saying? So I didn't give a fuck. You know what I'm saying? Like, it didn't matter to me. Like, they either gonna like it or they ain't gonna like it. I don't give a damn. Like, you feel me? So, like, I'm sitting there, like, you're not nervous? I was like, no, I don't care. Like, you know what I'm saying? And I got up there, ripped it. I get off the stage, and, like, I immediately turned into Muhammad Ali. Like, I start shadow boxing. Like as I'm getting off the stage, they're like, yeah. They, like, just fueling it on, right? And I'm just like, I'm the greatest. Like, I swear to God, this is my first poem. First poem, and I'm feeling like a whole rock star. Right,
because you get off the rip. It's because you became reborn.
It's like my life started at that moment.
Most definitely.
My life did not start until I spit my first poem. Most definitely. That's dead ass.
But you know what's crazy? It's crazy me listening to the story, and it's funny how that girl breaking your heart kind of rolled you into writing poetry.
Right.
But it's also crazy that when you think back to your younger years, something was tapping on your shoulder telling you right.
Yeah.
You know, that's
to get it out.
Right. So your whole life, you've been primed and prepped for poetry.
Yeah.
Or not even poetry, for writing, for expressing your emotions.
Yeah. And it's funny because I need to change my words because I always tell people ask me how long I've been writing, and I always refer to that moment, which was 10 years ago. So I always say I've been writing for 10 years. But really, I've been writing since I was 6.
Most definitely.
So really, I've been writing for 20-something years.
Most definitely.
And I need to start saying that because, wow.
It's crazy that, it's crazy to me that, you know, you had to figure it out on your own. Like, meaning like, our parents don't know what to do with us when you have that type of emotion, when you have that type of insight. Yeah. It's something you said earlier that really made me think about myself, right? The why. When you was actually about why this, why that, why that. Poets are on a quest for the why. And we always writing in a way where it's why is it like this, or why did she do this, or why did he do this, or why is the society like this? And that why.
We're observers.
Most that we are fucking prophets, bro. That's what we really are. And the thing is like that why you was asking when you was younger, that was tugging on your soul. You got the answer when you got on that stage. Yeah. Yeah.
Man, I wish my hair was out. I would just be like, yo.
What does poetry mean to you?
What does poetry mean to me? Langston Hughes says, poetry means the world to me. It's how I laugh, how I sing, how I cry and ask why. Poetry comforts me like jazz or the blues. You know what I'm saying? Like, and so poetry means the world to me, you know, like, and that's what Langston Hughes said. Poetry is what I use to say I love you. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's literally like so it's like, say I'm in a house, you know what I'm saying? I got all my emotions, all my feelings, all my thoughts, my opinions, everything I think about the world. Poetry is literally the door. You know what I'm saying? Like when that door opens, you know what I'm saying? Something comes out, something might come in, you know what I'm saying? So poetry is literally like it's the gateway between my reality and connecting with the actual reality around me. Yeah, poetry means the world to me, man. Like that poem by Langston Hughes. I wish I could. I don't want to fuck it up. That's why I stopped. But I know that poem like all the way through because I've had to say it like 1,000 times. I was in this nonprofit where we taught kids how to read, write, and identify poetry words. It's called Kids Poetry Basketball, and we would teach the kids that poem. Like on the slam dunk competition, they had to spit that poem. Poetry means the world to me by Langston Hughes, and then do that slam dunk. You know, we all rated or whatever. You know. But yeah, that's literally he basically, you know, capsulizes what poetry means to me. It means the world to me, bro. Like it's saved my life. Like that moment, just to kind of touch on what was going on. Like that moment when I spit that poem, I was about to have a crazy back disease called sciatica. I was about to lose my job. Did lose my job. Lost my apartment. Failed all my classes, put on academic probation, chronic depression, crazy anxiety. You know, I became emaciated because I had no money to eat. You know what I'm saying? So I'm already a slim dude. I lost 15 pounds, bro.
Most definitely.
You know what I'm saying? So I was looking bad. You know what I'm saying? But this is happening while I'm spitting this poem and 200 people are on their feet, stomping and clapping. From there, I get asked to feature at our first event. From there, I get asked to go to another college to feature at that event. Then from there, I get asked to go to, I'm a Region 5 All-Star in my very first poetry slam. I come in second place. You know what I'm saying? I'm one of the top 5 who get to go to Tennessee. Now we're going to Boston. Now we're going to Michigan. Now, you know what I'm saying? Like, it literally, that's happening while this crazy shit is happening. You know what I'm saying? Like, I literally, if there was no poetry, bro, I would have died.
Most definitely.
I literally would be dead.
Most definitely.
Because there was nothing else for me to live for. Nothing. I mean, I can say my family or whatever, but I didn't have nothing to live for me that I can call my own. You know what I'm saying? And being able to vent, that's what I was doing, bro. People thought I was performing and entertaining. I was venting, bro. Like, because what I was saying was some hardcore shit.
You was breathing on stage when you was suffocating.
You know what I'm saying? It's like I'm inhaling it, all the bullshit, and then I get out on stage and exhale.
Right.
Let it out, bro. Yeah, so yeah, it means the world to me, bro.
It's something you said earlier that I went back while we was talking. You said, You said, let me see, you said, give me 1 second. You said, you was talking about poetry. And you went to we talked about the why. I know what it was. You said that when somebody told you about the poetry stuff, you was like, what? Poetry?
Right.
And the thing is like, while you said it, it made me think. It's a negative aura around poetry because they don't want us to be heard. They plant things, whether they put whack poets on movies, they don't put the real killers and the aliens on movies. It's a mind game they play on poetry to make people look at poetry a certain way. So even when you say, hey, when you meet somebody you don't know and you say, hey, I do poetry, I want you to do it, and they think, poetry? I don't like poetry. No, you don't know what poetry is. Come feed your soul. So when you said that, it made me think about they put a negative stereotype on poetry. Now, that poetry jam, they blew it up. But prior to that, but you have to be in the know to see it, right? Most black people know about it, but I don't think the world know about it like that, right? So the thing is, I believe that they do that purposely because they know that if we are heard, we will fuck the world up.
So here's the thing with that. The oral tradition is the oldest form of writing in human history. Before there was the written word, there was the spoken word. They were called West African bards, you know what I'm saying? These griots, rather, Griots, griots in Africa, who would basically be the village historians. And they would basically have all the history of their tribe, of their village, you know what I'm saying, written in like a poem form. And it would have a rhythm, you know, and it might be somebody while they talking, you know what I'm saying? And they said it in a very rhythmic and melodic way so that people could, one, digest it, and two, remember it. You know what I'm saying? You can remember a song better than you can remember a paragraph out of a textbook. You know what I'm saying? But if you take that same words in that textbook and put it in a song form, you're going to have it in like a day. You know what I'm saying? Like, and that's how I used to study. I used to put stuff in the song form and it would help me remember. So, you know what I'm saying? When you think about that, and when I really started diving into poetry, spoken word, I realized that most of them was saying some real shit. And they were speaking truth to power, you know what I'm saying? And they were truly unlocking, you know, the why. You know what I'm saying? They were asking questions. They were like, you know what I'm saying? And they would go in and they would be passionate. And not only that, it was shifting minds. The people who were sitting there watching it, yes, yo, words, spit that, say that, yeah, you know what I'm saying, clap, stomp, whatever, like they would feel what the person was saying. And so when you have an infrastructure where you have to maintain a certain level of ignorance over people, something like spoken word challenges that, you know what I'm saying, because you can't block the engagement that happens between the poet and the person listening to the poem. You know what I'm saying? Like you can't block that, but you can block it by giving a stigma to poetry. You know what I'm saying? Like I had a stigma, or like I said, I had a stigma for poetry.
Me too.
You feel me? Like I was like poetry, like that was like it was very unattractive.
And hip hop is poetry.
And poetry is
song, singing, everything is poetry.
Poetry is hip hop's mother. Poetry is music's mother. You know what I'm saying? So it just goes into, you know, cutting off certain parts of intelligence in order to control people.
And it also goes into what you were saying as far as in the beginning when you had to do basically self analyzing yourself. It also goes into that. So that why that you're talking about that poetry does, it also put it in your mind to make you think why. So if you're a person that's a walking mute or a walking clone, we make sure we activate you so you won't be a clone no more. We basically, we are Neo, and we basically planting seeds. We are the infection to the matrix, right?
I think we're Morpheus. Setting off Neos.
Most definitely. Most definitely. You said it perfectly. That's what we are. And at any time, you always have what is the guy name? Is it Mrs. Anderson? What's his name with the glasses?
Mr. Anderson.
What's the guy?
No. Like, I don't know. Yeah, agent something.
Whatever the agent name is.
Yeah.
But the thing is like, it's a lot of agents out here, bro. It's a million agents, billion of agents, and there's only a few of us. And we got to make sure that we do our part to activate the world, because this shit fucked up. I mean, when you're young, you think the hood fucked up. The world is a hood. The whole world is a hood. The only difference is it's a crack house and a fancy house on certain things. So, anybody in your family right besides you?
It's so funny, man. It wasn't until I went on my second national tour. It was called the Great Tour Fam First. I wrote 100 poems for 100 different family members, all specific to them, and I hand delivered these poems. I didn't get to finish it. I got to like 55, and I had some things there, so we had to kind of like postpone it. But it was like around the 30th poem when I was in Baltimore, and I dropped my poem off to my Aunt Curl. She's basically the matriarch of the house that most of us were born in on Park Heights and Garrison. And I didn't even know she did poetry, bro, until I had dropped her poem off to her. And she pulled out this old dusty ass suitcase, bro, that had all these notebooks in it, bro. And she spit one of her poems for me, bro. And I want to say I had tears in my eyes, because like I'm over here thinking like, I'm an alien, you know. I just came out of nowhere. I'm the only one who had this gift, like, you know what I'm saying, whatever. But it was in my DNA, you know what I'm saying. Somewhere it was in my DNA, and it wasn't that far off. You know what I'm saying. I go back to the Harlem Renaissance. I go back to the griots that we talk about in West Africa. But the whole time, just one generation away, 2 generations away rather, was my great Aunt Carol. You know what I'm saying, who was a poet, and she was nasty, bro. Like, you know what I'm saying. Like her poem was about it was during the crack epidemic. You know what I'm saying. So it was about like not giving your life to dope. You don't have to live that life. You know what I'm saying. Boom, boom, boom. Asking why. You know, how did these drugs even get here? You know what I'm saying? Like, all this was in her poetry, bro. She only let me hear one poem. And I'm like, yo, like, tears in my eyes, bro. Because I was like, man, like, so, yeah.
Is she still alive?
She is.
Why don't you push her to try to put that book out? Because that needs to be heard.
Maybe,
push her. You need to push her. Because the thing is like, we've conquered fear, right?
Yeah.
And based on your story, your first poem, you didn't have any fear. So you went in fearless, and a lot of people don't even, like me, I had fear, and I had to conquer that, but you went in fearless. What gave you that to be fearless? What was that in you to, you kind of explained all the things you was going through. Is there any time you've been on stage and you had a fear? Yeah,
so I can admit that I don't always get on the stage with... well, actually, that's not true. I do get on the stage with the utmost confidence.
We out shit.
And that's just being honest. Like, I really feel like I was chosen. You know what I'm saying? Like, this isn't. It's not because it's not me on stage. Like, I don't have an opinion because it's not me.
Most definitely.
It's the ancestors, bro. Like, you know what I'm saying? So I will admit that there was a point in my journey that shifted from relationships to started talking about more. Encompassing things, not just about myself. Like, I wanted to speak for the voiceless and speak truth to power. You know what I'm saying? So when I started doing that, yes, the fear definitely came because I wasn't afraid of like messing up or not, you know what I'm saying, or anything like that. But I was afraid of what the poem would do, and what eyes would be on me. What kind of targets would be on my head. Because let's just be honest, black men who have spoken up in this country get, you know what I'm saying, killed, emasculated, you know what I'm saying, put in jail, all these other things, and
discredited,
you know what I'm saying, their reputations get destroyed, or, you know what I'm saying, like, they literally get destroyed, you know what I'm saying, in this country when you speak up, especially as a black man, So when that started happening, when my poetry took a political turn and a socio-economic turn, I would have fear after the poem, you know what I'm saying, like, I would wonder, oh man, if I spit this, and it's like 5 white people sitting right there, and they'd be agents. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, nothing against white people. I love white people.
Right.
But you just never know. You know what I'm saying? You never know, and you got to worry about your people. Who, like you said, a lot of people are agents. Like, your people might snitch on you or turn on you. You know what I'm saying? Right. Like, that's kind of, the system is really working well now, because now your own people will get you killed. You know what I'm saying? Like, we think about Malcolm X. We think about all these other people. But, yeah, man, so that's really the only time fear ever really fucked with me, was when I wondered, like, damn, like, am I going to get off for telling the truth? Because that's all I'm doing is telling the truth. And unfortunately, I don't give a fuck. You know what I'm saying? I'm going to tell the truth. I'm not going to get in front of these people and lie. I might as well not say nothing. I might as well sit down, because that's what everybody else is doing. If you're not speaking up, you live in a lie. So you're telling lies, you know? So I'd rather, that's the beauty of, you know, people like Tupac who paved the way, because they showed us, man, it don't matter, bro. You're going to leave your mark. You're going to say what you got to say, and it's going to impact the person it's supposed to impact. You know, and as long as you touch one person in the room, you know what I'm saying, you did your job.
Most definitely.
You know, so that I live by that. You know, as long as one person gets touched, my job is done, bro. And it's been way more than one person. You know, it's been one person every performance, you know.
Right. How, do you think you did good your first feature? Tell me about your first feature.
Oh my God, bro. So my first feature was lit because I had 3 poems, all about relationships. It was, okay, what did I spit? I spit the one that I auditioned with. I spit the extended version. I had to shorten it because we only had 30 seconds. So I spit the extended version that dating is fun, but I don't date for fun. I had another poem called I Play, and it was basically about texting the shorty or whatever and how that goes. And then I had this last poem called Foreplay Hoe. And Foreplay Hoe was about Foreplay Hoe was about this shorty, bro, who I was in college, and she came to my house because she came to my apartment because she wanted to wash clothes. I had to wash and dry it, which is a luxury in college. And she wanted to wash clothes, and we was in my room, and we, you know what I'm saying, get the rubbing and touching and feeling on each other type deal. And before you know it, you know what I'm saying, she butt ass naked on my bed, you know what I'm saying? And I'm over here like getting ready, you know what I'm saying? I pull the condom out, and I've never told this story on an interview, bro. This is some fresh shit. I've never ever told this story. But yeah, I pulled the condom out, and I'm putting the condom on. And she gonna say, oh, I didn't want to have sex. I don't want to have sex.
Oh, shit.
So you're a foreplay hoe. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, you just came, you know what I'm saying? Like, you just came to get ass naked. We over here touching, rubbing, kissing. And you don't want to have... Fuck out my house, bro. Like, and I didn't dog her like that. You know what I'm saying? Her clothes finished or whatever.
But your thought process was like, fuck out my house.
Right. You know what I'm saying? So I wound up... just taking her home, and I wrote the meanest poem, bro. Like that night, bro.
Foreplay hoe.
Bro, like and like the only line I can remember, bro. I done lost so many books, bro.
You gotta keep.
Bro, listen to this. I've had like maybe 10 notebooks go missing. I've had, you know what I'm saying, phones with hella poems gone. Like I forgot way more than people have written, bro. Like I mean, when I say like, I mean. Stacks.
Why you don't?
I had stacks.
Do you use your notes on your phone?
Yeah, you know, I mean, now I'm a little bit more.
Yeah.
I can keep it together, and
Right.
I got to. You know what I'm saying? I got it like in there. I got it in my Gmail. I got it on my hard drive. I got, you know what I'm saying? Like
printed copies and everything.
You know what I'm saying? I keep it now. You know what I'm saying? I keep it now. But in the beginning, man, like I said, I didn't know what it was doing. You know what I'm saying? I didn't know how important it was going to be.
Right.
So I mean, granted, I was hurt. Like especially, I had this one poem called. I had not this one poem. I had this one notebook. I used to name my notebooks. His name is Nemo. And like, it's like I was trying to find Nemo because I lost Nemo, right? But yeah, so I called it Nemo. And man, when I say like some of my hardest poems was it like, I mean, classics. I mean, like every single one is a banger. Like every single, and it's like 90 pages. You know what I'm saying? Like a 90-page notebook, and it went missing, bro. And I don't know what happened to it, bro. Like,
you know, somebody right now spitting Nemo right now. Somebody
bro,
out there spitting
poems,
with you,
bro. It's a lot of poems getting spit right now. Because I'm heavy on YouTube, you know what I'm saying, watching people, and I've heard some poems like, man, I've written something just like that before. You know what I'm saying? I'll be trying not to go in my mind like, this motherfucker
got my book.
I'm gonna whoop his ass, bro. Like, wait till I see this thing, bro. Like, you know what I'm saying? But, you know, it's all good. It's all good. But yeah, man, I wrote Foreplay Hoe, man, and I remember, like, it was one line, you know, don't go to the amusement park if there's nothing you want to ride. You know what I'm saying? Like,
right.
It was like that type of thing, bro. And that poem, and she was there.
Right.
And she was there, bro, sitting in the third row, right here on the left. I'll never forget. She's sitting there with her friend. Or whatever, and yeah, I spit that poem and shut it down, like it always shut down. And then she gonna try to text me after, you know what I'm saying? Talking about like, let's talk, let's get up. Anybody getting up? With
no, she see the light now.
Yeah, you're right.
She see the light.
She see the light.
I am the light.
I am the light. Now you believe the hype. Get out of here. Yeah. I got one bad eye, but the other two got more vision than sight. Don't play games with me. You know what I'm saying? Like,
definitely.
So yeah, man.
What's your favorite spot to perform at?
Favorite spot to
Because, you know, like, we all...
Cat's Cafe, right? Come get some. Open mic, you know. That's the political correct now.
No, you don't got to say that about a spot. No.
Right. I mean, but I do love that spot. That's definitely top 2, top 3.
But what's your favorite spot? Because some spots, you know, for me, some spots it feels soulless. Like, I don't even want to get on the stage because they don't feel like they there to hear poetry. They're here just to judge what you do. Right?
I don't really like to go to those spots, but okay, we're not gonna put no names on.
No names.
Yeah, but I think I know a spot like that.
We all know spots like that. Every poet looking at this know a spot like that.
I was there last night actually, supporting my friend. You know what I'm saying? I was supporting the event. You know, you do your thing. You know, they creating a platform for people to perform. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Whatever, but. I can't really say, man. I got so many favorite spots, man. Like, Come Get Some is really one of my favorite spots. Reflect the Soul is really one of my favorite spots. My Events I think is my favorite spot. I really can't say, bro. But what I will, for some reason, this is popping in my head, so I guess I'm gonna go ahead and say it. But I went to this event in Miami. Okay. And it was called Speak Fridays. And hosted by this dude named Rob, and man, that was just an awesome venue. And I don't know if it was so much the spot as it was the moment in which it was happening. Because what happened was I was on my tour. First tour. This is my first national tour from New York to Miami. I hit 14 cities in 6 weeks. And what happened was on that last night of the tour, Speak Fridays was on the list. So I go to Speak Fridays, and you know, when you sign the open mic list, a lot of people don't like to put their name on the number 1 or the number 2 spot. Like, they put their name at number 4, number 7, number 9, right? And number 1 was open, and I'm like, fuck it, I'm write my name right there, right? And it just so happened he was like, you know what I'm saying, you out of town, you put your name first, we're gonna let you do 2 poems, right? I was like, all right, bet, I'm gonna do 2 poems then. And what happened was I got on stage. Now I think I'm being biased because it was this shorty that I met that I'm like secretly in love with. I think that's why I like that venue. Now I'm thinking about it, but I'll tell the story anyway. But basically, what happened was, I got on stage, man, and it was the end of my tour. So like, this is the last performance, and I was just like dumb excited, dumb happy about everything, bro. And what happened was, I freestyled at the beginning, right? And the way it worked is, me and my friends, we used to have this kind of like game we used to play where it was called 3 words. So it would be the group of us, we'd be together, sitting in front of the cab, sitting, you know, wherever. And we would, you good?
I'm good.
Cool. Yeah, we would basically, some random person would walk past and they would say, hey, you got 5 minutes? And when they say that, somebody about to get put on the spot, about to do a poem for this stranger, right? And it was like, and they would say, yeah. Usually they would say, yeah, because we just vibrant and charismatic. And you're like, okay, yeah, I got 5 minutes. What y'all got for me? You know, and they would say, oh, my man B.Rock want to spit a poem for you real quick. Like, no warning, no nothing. You know what I'm saying? This is my training ground. This is the first 2-3 years of me doing poetry. I'm like, we training each other. We was still sharpening still because we was all killers. It was like 7 or 8 of us, bro. And unfortunately, you know, I was the only one that kind of kept going with it. But yeah, I love all of them, man. Brian Fingers, Queens, Champ, my man Green, my boy Dez, my other Dez. It was a bunch of us, bro. But anyway, you could have the stranger had 2 options. They could hear a poem, an original poem from me, or they can give me 3 words, and I gotta make up a poem on the spot. So what happened was, on this night, you know what I'm saying? So I was like, yo, I'm feeling like hella good right now. Y'all give me 3 words. We're about to make up a poem right now. And this is the last night of the tour. I ain't never been, they don't know me from Adam, bro. So this is about to be the first poem they hear from me. This is gonna set the standard for what they think about me. You know what I'm saying? So they gave me 3 words, and the words were yellow, passion, and candle. And everybody was like, oh, because they thought it was going to be about sex, right? Like, you naturally would think it's going to be a sex poem. And I was like, all right, bet, boom, boom. I was like, take a deep breath. And it had nothing to do with sex. It was about freedom. It was about independence. It was about walking in your purpose, bro. And I flipped it, and like I basically, the yellow was like the sun. As a child, you draw that yellow sun in the corner, and it's the light shining. You can't let that light, that childhood die, and it's got to be a candle burning. Like I was going in, and you gotta let your passion out. You know what I'm saying? Like I went in, bro, and like literally when I finished the poem, it was like, yo, like clapping, people standing up, like it was lit. So then I did my second poem, B.Rock is back, and that just motherfucking goddamn Hogan, like it was a wrap after that, bro. And they've been in love with me since. I've been in love with them since, you know. And I actually got invited back for a feature, you know. So it was dope, man, dope. But I met this sister out there who walked up to me after. That's why I say I think this is why it was my favorite one. But I'm gonna put her out there, man. Her name was Samantha, and she walked up to me, and this is the thing. I was outside. Like I had walked outside. I was talking to my homeboy because it started out. He was from North Carolina. I went to college in North Carolina, and we just started rapping. You know what I'm saying? He was a poet or whatever. He was trying to do some things in North Carolina, and we talking. And she walks outside, gets out of her seat, walks outside, walks up to me, bro. And I mean, this sister was, oh my god. Right? I'm about to write a poem right now, goddamn. But yeah, she was bad, boy. And then her poem was vicious. I'm like, wait a minute. You got the whole package? Like, you got the whole package, like crazy, bro. I mean, oh my god, man. This sister, I still think about this sister to this day. I'm not even gonna lie to you, bro. But we follow each other on IG. I'll be keeping up, you know, stalking on the Lord. But anyway, what up, Samantha? Anyway, but yeah, I think that's why that was my favorite.
It's funny. Have you ever been heckled?
Heckled? Yeah. Like during my
poem? Cause you know we get heckled too.
Like during the poem?
Yeah.
So this is the thing, man. Like, and this is how I knew I had a purpose. So, like 2 years into my poetry journey, I'm at this venue, and like the crowd was rowdy as fuck. I mean, nobody was getting love. The host wasn't even getting love. And they called me up, and I opened my mouth. Literally, as soon as my poem started, it got quiet as a mouse. I mean, like how it is right now. Right. And we in like a club. You know what I'm saying? Like it was quiet. I mean, I felt like the bartender stopped. Like I didn't even hear clinks going on. Like it was quiet as a mouse.
God is in the building.
You feel me? And that's when I realized, and that's when the next level happened. That's when I realized, you know what I'm saying, went from, oh, this is what I'm supposed to be doing to, oh, this is a platform. Like people are literally legit listening to what I have to say. Something about when I open my mouth, it's translating. Whatever I say is going to translate.
It demands attention.
It demands attention. And that's when I realized, man, okay, it's cool to talk about relationships and all that stuff and fuck this female, fuck that female, but how about I really start saying something? You know, and that's when I took the more political turn, socioeconomic turn, because I'm like, bro, like, if people gonna listen, I need to be feeding them something. It's cool to like get that little bit of drama, love, and hip hop shit, you know what I'm saying, whatever, but we need to feed the spirit. That just feeds your instant gratifications. Like you want long-term effects. I want to say something that you're going to remember 10 years from now, and it's going to influence a decision that changes your life.
Most definitely.
You know, so yeah. So I don't really get heckled, bro. Like, and if I have, I don't remember it. Like, I think I do remember like having to kind of like.
It's too many cheers to hear the boos.
That's absolutely right. That's absolutely right, bro. Like so many people, I got a poem called My Kids. And I say in the poem, you know, so many people, it's cool. That's cold, but it's cool because I'm on fire now. I already forgot the ones that didn't support because so many people did. Now I'm Snoop Dogg in your forts. Baby boy, I'm the king of this sport. You know what I'm saying? Like so many people have poured into me. It's hard to really remember who has really tried to take away from that. You know, right. Like the haters don't really.
You're insignificant.
Truly insignificant.
Let me ask you this: how many poems do you have locked in your head right now?
Whoo! I don't know, bro. I'm gonna be honest with you. So on my phone, I keep a list, just of poems. So like, it's so many. Like when I be at a venue, and that's a gift and a curse because I envy people who just got one poem that they always do. Because they don't have to think, you know what I'm saying? They don't have to really practice at all. Like they doing that poem and that's it. Right. But when you got so many different poems about so many different subjects, and you are somebody who wants to really serve and influence the people, you get kind of caught up trying to figure out which one will really impact them. You know. Definitely. So in my phone, bro, and it's not just the poems. I just got the titles so I can see what I got to work with, it's like at least 50 right there in the phone alone. And that's just what's on deck.
Right,
you know what I'm saying? There's hella poems that's not on that list because they're just not for people to be hearing all the time. Like, it's some really emotional ones. It's some other ones that are still in my head, memorized, you know, or they're really, really old and I just don't do them no more, you know. But I can just tap into them real quick, you know what I'm saying? Boom, boom, and just go through the lines or just read it one time real fast. Or like I got videos on YouTube. Sometimes I can just watch it on YouTube real fast and just memorize that fast. But yeah, it's at least 50, bro. It just in my head.
What piece gave you the hardest time to remember? Because we all have a piece where it's kicking our ass to remember that poem.
The only time I have a hard time remembering a poem is when I have to write it on behalf of something else, somebody else. Like, say I get invited to an event and this is the theme for the event, you know, and I don't necessarily have a poem, or I want a fresh poem to go with that, then that might be a little bit difficult to memorize. But for the most part, like, it's like my spirit talking. So it's like, even if I don't really remember the poem too well, I can kind of freestyle my way to the end type of deal, you know. So I don't really get caught up in the. So I will say I get nervous with that. I will have a fear with that when I have to do a new poem that I'm not all the way comfortable with.
Right, because you ain't put all the seasoning into it yet.
Right.
You cooked it, but you don't know if it need more salt, more pepper, more seasoning, more Obey seasoning. You don't know yet.
Right, because my practice regimen is I follow Bruce Lee. So Bruce Lee once said that I'm not afraid of the man who practiced 400 different punches. I'm afraid of the man who practiced one punch 400 times.
Most definitely.
You know what I'm saying? Because if that motherfucker land, I'm out. So I'm done. Like, you feel me? So I have to rehearse a poem beginning to end at least 400 times before I actually feel comfortable to put it out. You know, because you memorize it, but then there's a second level of memorization, which is called settling. You know what I'm saying? The poem has to settle. When it settles in your spirit, that's when it's just a part of you. It's not that you have to think about what line is coming next. It's just a part of you, and you can play with it. You can have inflections and take it up, take it down. You can stop and laugh, make a joke in the middle of it with the crowd. You know what I'm saying? Like, because it's just embedded in you. You know, like, I like when, if a poem isn't embedded in me yet, then I might be a little bit, you know, apprehensive about spitting it for the public.
Would you mind sharing the way you learn your new poems?
Yeah, so it's like 3 different methods. So the first one is just like music. Like I said, music is very easy to memorize. So what I'll do, and the reason it's easy to memorize is because you're just listening to it. Like, the easiest, laziest thing you can do is just listen to it over and over. So I record it, you know what I'm saying? And that kind of gets difficult because it's not, when it's recorded, when I initially record it, it's not recorded exactly how I would spit it. So that kind of has a disconnect, but it really does work wonders. Like, if you record your poem and listen to it, you'll be surprised how much you will learn in a day, like in 2 days, just by listening to it over and over and over. The second method is, so what I do is I punish myself. And the way I punish myself is I'll like lock myself into a situation where I cannot stop until I spit the poem from beginning to end without messing up. Like, that means no stuttering, no pauses, no missing lines. If I miss a line, I have to stop and start over. And I cannot go to sleep. I can't eat whatever I need to do next. I can't do that until I spit the poem from beginning to end without messing up. Even if it's not even like all the way like together. Like, I just have to say it without messing up. Just get from the beginning to the end without messing up. And I can't move. I can't do nothing. And I will put that pressure on myself. Well, then, and I'll be mad, like, like, I'll be literally at the end of the poem, like the last line, and stumble on the last line. And I'm like, nope. And I'm like, fuck, like, I'll be mad, bro. And I'm like, no, I need to do the poem then. Like having debates with myself, right? And I would do it like that. Then the third way is some poems, I haven't done it in a little while, actually. Let me think. I think I've probably written some songs in my head. But the third way is I'll write a poem in my head. Like, I have poems that I've actually did not ever write down on paper or in my phone at all. And I literally just sat there for like an hour or two, or however long it took, might be all night, and just would write this poem in my head. And the way I'm writing it in my head is like, I come up with the line, then the next line, then the next line, then the next line. And I would literally just keep spitting the poem and adding the line. Spitting the poem and add a line until I get to the end of the poem. And then at that point, when I get to the end of the poem, it's literally already in my head. Like I literally don't have to think about nothing else. And like I'll wake up in the morning and spit it again, and it's there, bro, and it's clean. Like that's really one of the best ways to do poetry, bro, because it's like no process for it, bro. You literally write the poem in your head and it's there. Emotions, spirit, everything is aligned. It's written how it's supposed to be written. Like I don't have to edit it. I'm not editing the poem. You know what I'm saying? Because I wrote it as I just in my mind. So that's another way I memorize poems.
Do you have any poems that you hate doing but everybody love?
X King. X King is
that's my favorite.
The split.
You reach that's alien level when you spit that, boy.
The split personality poem between Malcolm.
Can you spit that for us? I'll pick with you.
Bro, like, because this the thing about that poem, bro. Like, I love it. You know what I'm saying? I love the poem. I love that I wrote it. You know, I don't know why I wrote it. You know, but the thing is, man, it is so draining. I mean, that poem, like, I am exhausted at the end of that poem. Exhausted. Like, I mean, like, I'm sweating. Like, I mean, I literally felt like Martin Luther King and Malcolm X, just like this with my head the whole time, bro. They're like just beating me in the head. And that is taxing, right. You know? And I remember at one point, and I didn't realize that until I had spit that poem like maybe like 3 times in a week one time. I had to do it at this one event, and then I had to do it later that night, and then I had to do it the next day. You know what I'm saying? And because people love the poem, right? And I remember like that Sunday, I slept the whole day from doing a 3-minute poem, bro. That's 9 minutes out of my life, bro. And I had to sleep for a whole day because that poem is extremely draining. What I do when I spit poetry, man, is the visual is in my head. So it's like, as I'm saying it, I'm watching this shit play out. You know what I'm saying? And I'm getting emotional right now because what I'm seeing is these men who had something beautiful to say, impacted the people, changed the world, and they were silenced. They were killed for that. And I have to replay that shit through my mind every time I spit that poem. I have to revisit their death at the same time.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? In one instant, in 3 minutes, you know what I'm saying? It's like all of the energy, everything they were trying to say, trying to get the people to understand. I have to relive the whole civil rights movement when I spit that poem, you know what I'm saying? And that shit is draining. Like, I could take any line, bro, like, you know what I'm saying? Like, okay, let's see, like, a white man came along to write the 15th and 16th Amendment. It's supposed to solve the race problem, but it's wrong here. I don't want to do it, bro. I can't, like, just, you know what I'm saying? It's like, I can't even, because that's the thing. So that's the thing. I can't even half-ass the poem. That's a poem. That's one of those poems that I can't just bullshit through.
Right.
Like, I literally have to tap in and do it. Like, I can't, I'm sitting here trying to think of a line. I can't even think of a line.
Right.
Because I'm not.
And you just did it last Sunday.
I just did this poem, bro.
I saw you.
At a feature, bro.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And I'm sitting here trying to say a line and it's not coming out.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Because that poem, like, you really have to tap in to do that poem, bro. So I hate doing that poem because everybody loves it. Like, but I'm like, dude.
That's my favorite piece from you too, bro. That shit is a killer.
I appreciate it.
Let me ask you this, bro. Who was somebody? Who was a poet that you saw and you're like, damn, I wish I wrote that.
I wish I wrote that.
Yeah.
Everybody, man. Like, to keep it hot, you know what I'm saying? Everybody think it's dope. Like, they'll say something, I'm like, yeah. Like, if I give you that, or if I think you dope, or if I say you dope,
right.
It was something that you've said something that I wish I probably would have said. You know what I'm saying? It's something you said that I'm like, damn, that was clever, or that was dope.
Right.
So, if I put somebody at the top of the list, it's got to be Ed Mabry.
Most
you know what I'm saying? Ed Mabry is... I mean, literally every single poem he writes, I want to go write a poem. Like, you know what I'm saying? And I got another dude that's in Charlotte. His name is Hydra. Like, when he spit his bar, like, he's like so melodic with it. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. He's like a mathematician with that shit. He's like, and like the way he'll do this. You know what I'm saying? And he crafts it and presents it to you.
Right.
Bar. You know what I'm saying? Punchline. You know what I'm saying? And I'm like, yo, like, cause his dude, my man, a poet named Superman, he just featured the other night, and Hydra, they got a whole clique, the Queen City Collective, and so Hydra was there, and I told Hydra beforehand, I was like, bro, like every time I hear your poems on IG, I want to go write a poem. every time, because you'll say something that'll spark a creative thought in my mind, and I go write a poem. You know what I'm saying?
Most
And
definitely.
it literally happened the other night. Like,
Most
he spit
definitely.
his poem, and I started 2 poems, and I was like, okay, I'm gonna write that one, and I'm gonna write that one. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Like, off of something he said, bro. Like, so yeah, I really, as far as a young cat, Hydra, as far as an old head, Ed Mabry. You know what I'm saying?
Okay.
But
What,
everybody, bro, like, I get inspired every time I go to an
who
event.
is name your favorite poem?
Except the soulless events.
Yeah, right. Name a poem that you love is not yours.
It's not mine. Mary Baraka. His poem, it's a couple poems actually, but the one that I'm thinking of is a poem for Black Hearts.
Okay.
A poem for Black Hearts by Mary Baraka. And I love that poem because of the onomatopoeia in it. For those who don't know what onomatopoeia is, it's basically sounds written out. You know what I'm saying? So like, pow! POW. You know what I'm saying? That pow is onomatopoeia. And in that one, he like does this airplane onomatopoeia, this airplane sound. Like, he literally wrote out like a army plane. Bro, to see that shit on a page, bro, like it messes with your head, bro. Because I'm like, yo, this man just made airplane sounds in a poem, bro. Like, and he was a literary poet. Like, he would speak his poetry, like he would speak it, but he would be sitting at a podium reading it type of deal. And he had some albums that he came out with, and he would work with like jazz bands and stuff like that. He wrote playwrights, he wrote screenplays and stuff like that. You know, he did the whole gambit. He's actually one of the galvanizers of the second Harlem Renaissance, which was the Black Arts movement, which brought us, you know, Nikki Giovanni, Sonia Sanchez, you know what I'm saying, the people, Maya Angelou, you know what I'm saying, the people, Maya Angelou, who I think was in his theater camp, you know what I'm saying. So like that generation was beautiful, you know what I'm saying, just like the Harlem Renaissance is beautiful. But Amir Baraka was, as a person, I just love him as a person. So that context adds to why I appreciate him so much, you know. But a poem for Black Hearts by Amiri Baraka, Dumb Nasty. Claude McKay to the White Fiends, nasty poem. Goddamn, let me think, man. We about to be all day, bro. Like, you open up a can of worms with that one, bro.
Let me. What are some of the things that you want to do in the poetry realm? What is your goals for the next 10 years?
The next 10 years? Okay, yeah. So,
Well, you can give me 5. It's up to you.
Cool. Because I got a 3-year plan that I'm working on right now. I have to be kind of strategic about how I answer that because I don't want it to get short-sighted. But what I will say is that one of my number one goals in life is to help people win. I want to see people win, and I want people to have a platform. You know, that's what I want to do as a poet, is to create a platform for other poets. You know, to get on stage, to do what it is they want to do, to become their own rock star, to become their own brand, whatever they want to be, whatever they want to become. Give them a platform, give them avenues to do that. Because as we talked about before the interview, poetry, spoken word is like on the rise. You know, it hasn't matured yet. You know, and I want to be one of the stakeholders. I want to be one of the people, one of the key players involved, one of the gatekeepers involved for letting people in. Because I think what happens when we think about hip hop, like the people who are the gatekeepers now, they have their own agenda and they don't understand what hip hop is supposed to do. They don't understand what art is supposed to do when it comes to people. And so they are very picky about who they let in. And they let in only a certain amount of people or certain people who will create or perpetuate the image that they're trying to portray. When we think about hip hop today, I wouldn't even call it hip hop because hip hop is more so referring to the culture. When we think about rap today, it's da 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 da. I got that Percocet da 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 da, and the bitches on my dick. Yo, why your ex is so mad? Like, you know what I'm saying? It's literally, and I'm getting upset now. Like, a fucking broken record, bro. And people are like digesting this shit every fucking year. And it's so unfortunate that it destroys people's minds. Yet, the gatekeepers don't give a diddly damn fuck. They want to perpetuate this image of our culture and put these clowns in place, you know what I'm saying, to perpetuate it. And then you have the 70% of people who consume rap music who aren't us, you know what I'm saying, adding to the dollars, making it lucrative for them, and making them want to continue to put this bullshit out. And it's because the gatekeepers who are in place don't have the right intention. They have terrible intentions. They are very selfish, you know what I'm saying, when it comes to who gets in and who isn't let in. You know, and it's like, it's unfortunate that our J. Cole's, our Kendrick Lamar's, we have to like bang the fucking door down just to get 3 people in. You know what I'm saying? And then their message gets saturated in all the bullshit. You know, you have to really know music. You know what I'm saying? You have to really be listening on your own terms, not just listening to the radio, not just listening to music videos on BET, MTV. You know what I'm saying? Like, you literally have to be tapped into the musical stream of things to know what's going on. And it's the same thing with poetry. And I don't want that to happen. You know what I'm saying? And the way you prevent that from happening is being in the room when those decisions are being made. Not being invited to the room and having a 360 contract presented to you, and then you have to go through all these loopholes and, you know what I'm saying, figure out the hard way how to do this shit. No, let's fucking put our stamp on it now. Let's put our hands on it now. Let's put our minds and our intentions on it now, which is to speak truth to power and put people in place who deserve to be in place, who are putting in the work too, because you can be talented all day. You know what I'm saying? You can have a good message all day, but if you ain't putting in no work, then nah. You know what I'm saying? You can't get in. Like, I remember in high school, my football coach used to say, hard work beats talent when talent doesn't work hard. And when you think about it like that, that's also why a lot of the clowns get in. Because they putting in work, bro. I can't lie. A lot of them be putting in work. That music is garbage. But because they at the spot, the events every day, because they out there on the corner giving out their mixtapes every day, they get noticed. They get the notoriety and they get the opportunities to upper echelon things, as opposed to somebody who's hella dope, who's just trying to be hard, trying to be real, trying not to get into the bullshit. I'm gonna say what I gotta say, man. No, they not rocking with me anyway. Da 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 da. Like, that's not the mindset you gotta have. So I feel like I come in. That's where I come in, because I feel like I'm on both sides. Like, one of my Brian Fingers, he used to always say that I'm like a gatekeeper. He was like, bro, like, the way you deliver your message, it's like a conscious and an unconscious person can get it. You know what I'm saying? You literally are in that middle ground where you can transcend all of that bullshit. You know what I'm saying? On both sides. So I want to use that platform to make myself a gatekeeper, so that we have a platform for other artists who need to be on stage, who need the opportunity to be out there, man. Yeah, so that's where I'm at right now in my life.
We won't end it with that. What's your social media information?
Y'all can follow me at Mr. B.Rock. Mr. B.Rock. That's Mr. _ B _ Rock. MR _ B _ Rock. That's Mr. B.Rock on Instagram. B.Rock on SoundCloud, Facebook, YouTube, Reverb Nation, Black Planet, MySpace, Christians Mingle, Farmers Meet, Astronauts Connect, Adult Friend Finder, Cash App.
Yeah, this milk starring B-Rock. We killing ignorance one conversation at a time.